It is the RIOT Podcast, Tuesday, May 30th, back from the Memorial Day weekend break. Hope everybody had an enjoyable one. Isaiah, I trust you did.
Mine was eventful. I went to Scottsdale, Arizona, and spent more money in a 3-day span than I probably have in the past month combined. And that's not even an exaggeration. That actually might be accurate. Now that I'm thinking about the numbers back, I bet I spent more money this weekend than the past 2 months combined, maybe. That's actually pretty accurate.
Does that mean you're real frugal most of the time, or that Scottsdale is real expensive?
I was pretty frugal in my day-to-day life, but Scottsdale was insanely expensive. I sent a Venmo yesterday. Yeah. My final Venmo of the whole trip.
This is just one of many Venmos.
This is one of many. My final Venmo yesterday was probably the equivalent of like 3 weeks.
No.
Yeah.
Of groceries and
3
stuff?
3 weeks of groceries and gas and things like that. In just one Venmo. In just one 3-hour period of just going to a pool party. It was that much money to go to a pool party. To go to a pool party.
Yeah, you can do that for free a lot of places.
I can go. I do it every weekend for free. I go every weekend to the pool. I go to pool parties every weekend here where we live. I go to Scottsdale. It's hundreds of dollars, and just that one portion for a 3-hour period. Yeah. Let alone
forget about all the other events you took place in.
I mean, I was there for 3 days,
and travel, Airbnb.
I'm not even taking into consideration my flight there.
Yeah, because you paid for that months ago.
I paid for that months ago.
Doesn't even count.
No, that doesn't count towards it.
Well, was it all worth it then?
I met the love of my life, so yeah.
You met the love of your life?
Met the love of my life. And of course, it always happens when you're like on vacation. Yeah. You never get to like see them again. Met the love of my life this weekend. I'll probably never see her again.
You don't think you will?
I mean, maybe she'll come visit me in Columbus.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe.
Well, where is she? Scottsdale?
She's in Canada.
Ooh, big surprise.
Canadian, eh?
Big surprise.
You know what? I always talked about how, I always kind of mess around with you for being a Canadian boy.
Yeah.
But the women there, clearly incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly.
I could tell right away. It was a match made in heaven right away. And she lives 9.5 hours away from me. So
she doesn't, is it, you like her because she reminds you of me?
That's not
she like a female Canadian version of myself?
No, she's like real attractive. She's a real good time.
So I understand why you would,
I'm
see
not
us together.
No.
Why you would connect the two of us.
There's no connection there. Her name's Mel. Just an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah.
Here I am.
And you're not gonna go visit her in Ottawa.
Hey, maybe if I'll get a passport, I'll go.
That's only
tomorrow, and I'll just maybe I should just move.
We could do the show from Canada.
I could move to Canada. It would be a good switcheroo.
That'd be quite a reversal.
I could move to Canada and do the show from there with she's also a veterinarian, so I might just.
You said veterinarian.
She's a veterinarian.
Not vegetarian.
No.
Okay, good.
She's a veterinarian, so maybe I just retire.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
I'll just DoorDash. I'll just move to Canada and I'll just DoorDash.
What do you think the odds are that the feelings are mutual, though? What do you think? You think she's telling the people today, I met the love of my life.
No
he lives in Ohio?
No chance.
I got to go visit him?
No, there's no way.
At least I hope he comes visits me.
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
But for
There's
me.
There's a cold splash of water to the face.
Yeah, thanks for that, Hudson. I was having a good morning today, too, on this wonderful Tuesday. Then you're like, yeah, I don't think she felt the same way.
Yeah.
No, it was.
Chances aren't.
Oh no, it was a match made in heaven. She could tell too. It was obvious.
Yeah. I mean, chemistry.
We clicked right away. I found her on the dance floor dancing by herself. Myself also doing the exact same thing. Oddly enough, I knew she was the girl for me right then. And it's a 10-hour drive. So.
And she's like, oh, a big American boy.
Yeah. So I don't know how I'm gonna continue on one of my days. That was the biggest slap in the face yesterday when I got home and was laying and rotting on the couch.
Yeah.
It's now I have to go back to my normal life.
Yeah.
I got to go to work tomorrow.
And you're not going to meet the love of your life here on the show.
Nope.
Unfortunately.
No, I've already
it's not happening.
met the one person that's in this room and it's not him.
No, it's not. I'm taken. So
that's my normal life now.
Speaking of rotting, we do talk about bed rotting and finding out what that is on the show today. Also, I want to get you ready for tomorrow. If you want to text in or comment, 8772 RadioU. Tomorrow is Would You Rather Wednesday on the show. The question is, would you rather be hated online but loved by the people who know you in person, or the opposite? You're loved online, but people who know you hate you.
Oh, man, that's so tough.
Yeah, so start thinking. And if you want to text or comment, go right ahead with your answer. And that's your Tuesday show. Enjoy.
There's a lot of good stuff today.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Catch you next time.
See you guys.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Big events over the weekend is in the UK. They have a cheese rolling contest, a cheese chasing contest. Surely you've seen footage of this before. It's a massive hill, and I think no matter how many videos you see of it, the videos don't do it justice of how steep that hill must be. And then they roll a wheel of cheese down the hill, and then guys and gals chase it down, try to do so without being knocked unconscious. Well, that's actually what happened to the winner of the women's race.
And I watched the video here,
Yeah.
and as I watched, I can't figure out who won. Can you tell in the video? Because in the first, it looks like there's one person that, like, at the very end of it, looks like they would cross first, but they kind of, they slammed the ground so hard that I'm like, okay, they must be the one that gets knocked unconscious. And then about 2 seconds later, somebody else, definitely finishes. And I can't tell if they were the one that was knocked unconscious.
Yeah, I don't know which one is which. I think it's the red shirt gal.
You think it's red shirt?
I think the second one that crosses across.
Okay, because that
is
first,
the winner.
The one in the black, hits their face.
Yeah.
There's no way in my mind that person could be still awake.
Yeah, I think.
Are you thinking red one?
I think red one. But it's a bit. I know the gal's name. It's Delaney Irving. She's actually Canadian. 19 years old.
Of course she is. All right.
And she won. Actually, you know what? I see her here holding the wheel. She is the one in black.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So they call that winning.
That makes sense to me because that woman slammed her face into the ground. As I was watching the video, I'm like, a bunch of people falling down and rolling and
typical.
stuff. But she hit her face in the ground so hard that I was like, there's no way that she didn't pass out from that.
Yeah. But it was all worthwhile because she wound up winning. That's what they call winning the race. She got it down to the bottom of the hill first, conscious or otherwise. And so congratulations to her on the big win. I don't know what the prize structure is like.
Not worth it.
For the cheese wheel race.
It can't be worth it. I guess pride. And I love pride, but goodness gracious, that cannot be worth it for me.
Yeah.
Not to go through that kind of pain.
Do you think it could be possibly enough money to replace the teeth that were knocked out as you crawl down that hill?
I don't think so. It's a popular thing. I see this every year.
Yeah.
It's always on Twitter, a bunch of people hurting themselves. For me, yet again, this is not, I couldn't even, could you compete in this? There's no way I could.
You know what? I would like to say yes.
What would your strategy be if you did? Would you go for the straight run? I think I'd go for more of a bear crawl, maybe.
A bear crawl?
Because then if I fell, it wouldn't be as far. This woman was running straight up and down.
Yeah.
And so when she tumbled, it was so far for her to hit the ground. Where if I am bear crawling, down the hill, then if I fall, I can kind of do a little roll, tuck. I don't feel like it would be as painful.
Yeah, I think you got to stay low center of gravity.
Yeah, she was standing straight up and down, which worked for the majority of the time. She was killing it down the hill.
She won.
She won. Great strategy, but at the very end, it cost her heavily.
I think, do you think anybody ever tries just rolling like a child?
I always think that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be a far way to roll.
Yeah, it's a big
somebody
hill.
is probably going to land on you.
Yeah.
So
it just looks terrible. It looks so bad. It's painful.
It does. It just seems like the type of thing that I'd like to try once just to try. But yet again, I don't know how steep this hill actually is. I think it just has to be. Okay, you can get a pretty good feel by looking at the guys that are standing at the finish line waiting to catch people, basically, and provide medical aid when they reach the bottom of the hill. And, look how, you see how tall and steep that is. And I think it probably looks even worse in person, so.
Oh, yeah, and the hill's so big, too. You can barely see the people at the top.
Yeah.
That looks terrible.
Yeah, it looks like it's a disaster waiting to happen, and yet every year, multiple people. How many teeth do you think are on that hill right now?
Oh, a ton.
Yeah.
Can you imagine losing a tooth at this age in your life?
Yeah.
It'd be like the worst thing possible, right?
It would be so embarrassing. Right in the front. I just tell people, if you told people it's from this, they might be a little impressed.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
It's that time of year. The temperatures have soared, and now comes the age-old debate. Do you sleep with the fan on or off? Are you a fan on guy?
I have a no fan.
You don't do a fan?
I don't even have one in my room. I used to, growing up, always sleep with the fan on.
Uh-huh.
But now in the houses I'm in now, I have no fan in my bedroom. So not even an option. If I did have a fan in my bedroom, I probably would lean fan off at this point. But I always grew up with it on. So I'm not really sure if I'm fan on or off.
Well, let's use you as a test case then. Do you think you feel better now growing up than you did growing up, where maybe your health feels like a little better now because you don't sleep with a fan? Do you think that you could chalk up any health benefits to not sleeping with a fan?
I always felt before that if I didn't sleep with a fan on, then I'd be really stuffed up in the morning. But now I never sleep with a fan on, and so I feel fine though. I don't know if my health has increased or gotten better. But at the same time, it definitely hasn't gotten worse.
Well, let me share this with you and see if it sounds familiar. Sleep Advisor is advising people not to sleep with a fan on.
Oh, goody.
In your bedroom. And the reason they say is because fans are blowing dry air everywhere. Of course, as they're meant for. But blowing all that dry air, this is kind of surprising to me. But if it gets extra dry, that actually means your body tries to compensate by producing excess mucus. And so if you're finding yourself if you're sleeping with a fan on, you may find yourself being more susceptible to having your nose blocked up and maybe even getting some sinus headaches because of this. So that, surprisingly enough, could be one issue that comes from sleeping with your fan on. They also say that it can lead to sore muscles when you wake up because all the concentrated cool air blowing at you makes your body tense up and cramp.
So what are you? Are you on or off?
I'm a fan on guy. I don't care what Sleep Advisor says.
Okay, so you're fan on, and is that an agreed upon thing between you and Angela?
Yes.
She's with it as well.
We're both pro fan.
I feel like that could be a contentious thing in a relationship.
Yeah.
One person wants it on, one person wants it off. For me, yet again, I don't even have an option. I have no fan that's even available, but
it's kind of shocking that it's not like one of the things you would include on your dating profile.
Oh, yeah, fan on or off?
Yeah, feels like that's an important thing to get out of the way. There should just be like a dating app for people that sleep with the fan on.
Oh, you think so?
Actually, no, people that sleep with it off, because they're the weird ones.
With it off?
They need their niche dating website, not me.
See, I feel like when growing up, yet again, it was always on. And so now that I don't even have it as not, if I wanted a fan, I'd have to go buy one and set it up in my room because I have no ceiling fan in my bedroom.
Okay.
And so I feel like if it would be weirder to be running it on all the time. Does everybody have a fan in their bedroom? I feel is that even an option?
I think a lot of people do.
Have ceiling fans?
I don't know about the ceiling fan.
Oh, you're talking about a stand-up? I feel that's even weirder.
Why?
You don't have a stand-up, do you?
Yeah, I do. I have a stand-up fan.
So you went and bought that and put it in your bedroom?
Yeah.
That is crazy to me.
Multiple.
No, you don't.
Uh-huh.
You have more than one?
More than one
For
fan.
What? Why would you need more than one?
To keep you cool.
Do you ever run the AC, or are you just like hot dogging in there with just warm air?
We're getting to the point where I have to start making that difficult call, but up until now, with the fans, not necessary. The AC at night. Yeah, you open up the windows, you turn the fan on full blast.
You want to talk about making me sick. If I sleep with the windows open, that's not even an option. That is just asking to wake up sick. Like you have like the windows to the outside open. That's crazy.
That's my favorite way to sleep.
No way.
We're going to get to the point of the year where it gets too humid for that to be an option.
Yeah.
But I like hearing the outside world sounds in the background of the fan blasting loud noise at me.
No.
Yeah.
If I have the windows open, it's a guarantee to get sick. I used to spend that at my friend's house every now and then, and he was always a window open sleeper.
Yeah.
Talk about waking up in the morning and just feeling terrible. I hated it. I can't. That's the one thing. I'm cool fan on or off. You want to flip that on. The window being open, that is sickness. I would never be able to show up for work. I'd be sick every day.
Well, I guess you don't have to sleep over at my house. If you need a place to crash, it's not with me.
You're clearly not. I can't. I literally wouldn't be able to go to work. It'd be terrible.
Find more Riot content online. riot.radiou.com.
In Georgia, they're experiencing an issue with their driver's licenses. You can renew now in a lot of places your driver's license online.
Yeah.
That even goes all the way to, instead of getting your driver's license picture taken by somebody at the DMV, some places call it the BMV, you could just you got to take your picture at home, right?
And I feel like that'd be a hard thing to ask, but yes.
And some people, according to the government officials in Georgia, are taking their driver's license photos nude.
What are you talking about, nude?
You don't know what nude means?
I'm familiar with the word nude, but I'm not familiar with taking a driver's license ID. Like, are they talking like chest up? No shirt on?
I mean...
Because it's just like a headshot.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
should be.
a neck face.
If anything else is included in your picture, whether you're wearing clothes or not, you're doing it wrong, right?
Yeah, that cannot be the instructions.
Unless they have a different kind of style of driver's license in Georgia, where I can
can't.
see. Don't you think it would be helpful for the police if when they pull you over,
a full body shot?
If they have a full body shot?
No, because then you wouldn't be able to tell the face features as much. You got to be up close and personal.
But you could have both. One of each?
Next to each other?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be important because then
full body. Not if people are taking them naked though. That's not helpful whatsoever.
That could, unless they're often naked.
That gets
See, maybe these are nudists, and so this is like when you get your picture taken for your driver's license. They say if you wear glasses, you got to keep your glasses on for the picture.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're a nudist and you're getting your driver's license picture taken, I think you got to be nude. I think that's what the police officers are going to expect and compare to. It makes a lot of sense.
So here on the story, it says people essentially just aren't wearing shirts, right? And so I assume that means like collarbone up. I don't feel like that's like that big of a deal.
Yeah, why are they so worried about that?
Because like, do they have to have like a shirt for? I mean, you're showing like your traps, I guess. But like, is that really necessary?
You got a nice collarbone? You want to show off?
Even if you're wearing like, let's say you're wearing like a V-neck. You're wearing a V-neck, you might not be able to tell in the photo you're rocking a V-neck, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like as long as if you can't even see anything, what's the big deal?
I mean, I'm looking at everybody knows what their driver's license photo looks like.
Yeah. And
you're not even getting collarbone on those.
You're not going to see, it's not like you're going to see a stray nipple.
No, you're not even getting close to a nipple. You're not even getting a collarbone. And so when I think about these pictures, we can't even be sure people are shirtless or if that's just the shirt they're wearing.
Or maybe they're wearing a tube top.
The low-cut shirt.
That's what I'm wearing in mine. Nobody said anything. Yeah. So I don't see what the big deal is. I think it's a good way to, I don't know why the, Department of Driver Services needs to get any attention in Georgia on social media, but this is a good way to get attention. Just say people are taking naked selfies for their driver's license picture, even though there's not a lot of really true validity to that.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be because, at the end of the day, it's literally a neck shot.
You think you'd get tired, though, if you were, like, the person that had to go through and approve the IDs?
I know for a fact that they're denying so many, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
For whatever it is, for lighting, for, like, whatever color the background is supposed to be. Like, I know people aren't taking these correctly, and so for you to have to deny them as well, if you can see their traps, that's just a whole other issue. When you're just trying to get these people approved.
Yeah, just, let that shoulder flesh be seen is what I say.
Or just put on a shirt. It's noticeable.
You could do that as well.
I mean, if you've been denied more than one time already on this picture, you just need to put on a shirt. You're trying to get things right. You want to get the background blue. You're not supposed to smile. You're supposed to smile, whatever it is. I want to send this picture in one time, and I don't want to risk having to retake it.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
It's no secret if you're doing summer travel this year, if you're doing any flying, you probably noticed prices are through the roof. They're soaring, sky high, you could say. And who doesn't want a way to save a few bucks when you are doing your summer trips? Well, I've got a new trend, a new website that can help you out, save a few bucks on airfare. You ever heard of something called skip lagging, Isaiah?
I haven't.
Skip lagging is the idea that sometimes, it's hard to find a direct flight these days.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can actually book a cheaper flight by booking a flight. Like, let's say you went to Scottsdale. Let's say you want to fly to Phoenix. It might be cheaper for you to book a flight where you have a layover in Phoenix and then fly to Seattle than actually booking a flight just to Phoenix with a stop in Memphis in between.
Got it. So you're saying it's not a direct flight, but it might be taking you where you need to go.
But it's direct for you, and it actually may save you money to do that. And so there's actually a site out there called skiplagged.com that has the sole purpose is finding these situations for you.
So essentially you just don't get on the second half.
Yeah,
of the
you
trip.
just ditch that second flight.
That's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah, isn't it? It makes a lot of sense. But see, the reason that there has to be this whole other separate website for it is because if you look on Google Flights or Expedia or any of these other things, a lot of times they're not including that. They're not taking that into account.
Oh, yeah.
That you could fly. Well, I mean, I don't have to give another example. That you could just skip that second flight. They're not counting that. They don't look at that.
Which seems kind of silly.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like that should be an option?
It does seem like they should just be looking for the cheapest way for you to get to Scottsdale, whatever that cheap way is. But they often don't. And now skiplagged.com says that the reason that it's a better site is because its sole purpose is to save you money, whereas Google Flights and Expedia and Orbitz and whatever else, their sole purpose is to sell you a flight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they still will sell you the cheapest flight, but not necessarily the cheapest way that you can fly.
Yeah. Flying right now is a disaster as it is. I mean, I spent more time at the airport this past Sunday than I probably ever have in my entire life.
Yeah.
I was there all day long. I mean, our Airbnb, we had an Airbnb and we had to be out by 11 o'clock, right?
Okay, yeah.
My flight was until 5:30 p.m.
No.
And so we went down and we got like some lunch and whatnot, but of course we have all of our luggage and everything,
Yeah.
so we have to just get to the airport.
And you probably don't have a car. What are you, Ubering?
Yeah, Uber the whole way. So
yeah.
we Uber all the way to the airport. I sat at the airport from noon to 5:30.
Ouch.
Before I even got on the flight, and then I took like a 4-hour flight home. It was the longest day of my life.
Yeah. That's I don't want to one-up you, but I will. I've spent more time at the airport. I had an 8-hour layover in Miami once.
8 hours?
8
well,
hours.
You signed up for that. An 8-hour layover?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know.
You bought the flight. If you bought the flight, you signed up for it.
I didn't book the flight. I just went.
You just went?
I wasn't in charge, and I don't remember if it was scheduled for us to have an 8-hour layover. Because I can't imagine that it would be scheduled.
Yeah, there's no way. You should have skip-lagged there. You should not have... you should not even gotten that flight.
And what's worse is I was sick. It was at the end of the trip. It was a return trip. Worse than, I feel like an 8-hour layover on the way, you'd be like, ooh, well, I still got a trip coming up.
It's fun.
Yeah. But
8-hour layover on the way home sounds
on the
terrible.
way back, and I was sick. I was in the bathroom. I spent a lot of that 8 hours in the bathroom, we'll just say.
Oh, my gosh. That sounds terrible. Whoever booked that flight for you, shame on them.
Yeah, that travel agent.
An 8-hour layover, that's terrible.
I'll never work in this town again.
No, that's disgusting.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.RadioU.com.
What is the furthest you've ever gone to exact revenge on your ex? Text in at 8772-RADIO-U if you've ever gotten revenge in a wild way, because I have a wild one right here. I want to see if you approve or disapprove of this, Isaiah. We have a lady in the UK. Her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend now, he cheated on her. I don't know how far it went, but she says that she did find incriminating texts on his phone. So obviously that's not cool. So she had to get a revenge. And the way she did it is by sneaking into his apartment, getting the curtain rods. You know, they're hollow on the inside.
Familiar, yes.
She stuck shrimp, prawns into the curtain rods, hid them in there. And so the thought process is, give it a few days, those are going to start to smell something terrible.
And he's not going to be able to figure out where it is.
And he'll have no idea. What do you make of that?
I'm not for it. But that's a sneaky way to do it.
I mean, it's not hurting anybody really, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's like terrible. It's going to smell terrible. But yet again, for me, I'm not for the whole like getting back at your ex thing.
Yeah.
That's not my style.
Even if they cheat on you?
I don't think that there's a reason to waste any more time on them.
Yeah.
But for her to do this, she could do worse things.
She could have. I mean, she could have taken a baseball bat to both his headlights or something.
Which that again more aggressive.
You know what?
I wouldn't say go for that either.
That's like a crime though. Is this a crime?
As long as she didn't break into the house, it's not a crime.
You know what the problem is though? Here's the problem with her dastardly plan. Because actually, I don't know if I know I wouldn't do something like this because I'm not this. I'm like you. I just, when a relationship ends bad, you move on. You don't give them any satisfaction of knowing that it's still on your mind or whatever. So I wouldn't do this. But if I was to do this, I don't think it's a horrible idea. It's kind of a, nobody gets really too hurt, but it does drive them crazy, cause them a lot of issues. The problem is she's had somebody film her do it. Now it's on video of where she hid them. And now this story is everywhere. It's been viewed millions of times on TikTok. It's in the news. So this guy's going to figure it out. And so there goes all of the fun. Like, he's going to find out that the prawns are in there in just a day or two. It can't take that long for it to get back there, especially because, like, it's her name. So people are going to be like, hey, Joe, did you see your ex? She hid, I saw that she hid shrimp in your curtain rods. You might want to check that out.
You might want to look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. Another thing that it does, too, is when you do stuff like this after that they cheat on you or whatever it is, whatever the reason is when you break up, it just makes you look worse, If you just, like, move on, don't talk to him anymore, then the other person in the relationship is like, man, I really messed up because this was such a sweet girl, whatever. I did her so dirty. But when you do stuff like this, then it just, like, creates hatred. You look bad. I don't know. It just doesn't look good to me. I know he cheated on her, and that was wrong, and he was the initial wrongdoer. But I think it's just better to just go.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste any more time.
So you don't want to hear some other ways that people have gotten
No, I want to hear more of them. I mean,
Yeah.
yet again, for me, like, I'm going to do what I do. You guys, I enjoy when people do silly things like this because I love to see the craziness. Like, it doesn't affect my life, but I love to watch disaster unfold from just far enough away.
So this one's crazy. Vicky says that she took the back off of her ex's TV and put fish sticks in it.
Wait, you did what now?
That's like, what do you get?
The back off the TV. She unscrewed the back.
Screwdrivers? Yeah, what do you? That's intense.
And she put fish sticks in it.
How do you not get caught doing this stuff? What about this one? This is bad. This is Maggie who says, I brushed the toilet with his toothbrush and uses loofah around the bottom of the toilet.
See, that's
like in Horrible Bosses.
I feel that's pretty typical. The whole toothbrush in the
that's
toilet
a classic
thing.
But does that one, I don't know if you get as much enjoyment because, like, if they knew, obviously they just throw out the toothbrush, but also if they knew, like, then that would be the enjoyment of them knowing that they brushed their teeth with the toilet toothbrush, but they don't know. So where's the satisfaction in that?
I mean, they'll use it.
And then, this is a good one. I dumped a little bit of the oil from the minced garlic jar into each of his shoes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. You're going to catch on to that one pretty quick.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's in the shoe. It's a pretty easy one to mark down.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, yet again, move on. But I like when you guys do things like this because it makes me happy.
The stories are good stories.
Yeah, it makes me happy. I mean, for them, obviously it's terrible. But at the same time, sometimes they deserve it.
Well, cheaters never seem to learn, even with garlic in their shoes and prawns in their curtain rods.
Yeah, the bad smelling stuff, it's just terrible.
Yeah, maybe it'll teach him a lesson.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Here's something to think about when you're TikToking, Instagramming, Facebooking, that social media has now been around long enough that children that were born after social media cropped up are now getting to be old enough to where they're just about adults.
Like me.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think you might be on a little bit on the older end.
Yeah, probably.
Because they say that, what I'm reading here, and this seems like it checks out, they say that, like, it really started in 2006 would be when Facebook took off enough to where just everybody was on there all the time.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, though, these kids where their parents are on Facebook a lot, posting a bunch of stuff about them, are now getting to the age where they're grown-ups. where if you were born in 2006 or shortly there before, then you're about to turn 18, 17, 18.
Makes
19.
sense, yeah. Adds up.
And so what some people are finding is, as kids become adults, these kids that had so much of their lives posted before they were old enough to post about it, they're finding that that they didn't appreciate their parents posting about them so much. Like an example here is we've got like a couple of kids opening Christmas presents. They open the presents. They're real young. Open the Christmas presents. Inside the Christmas present is suitcases. They weren't excited about that. So they start throwing a temper tantrum.
Big babies, yep.
But the parents are trying to explain, no, this is this suitcase. It's for Disneyland. We're going to Disney World. But the kid's too young and had already flown into a temper tantrum being upset about that. And so how would you feel now? You're grown up and that was posted about you when you're a child. And that's kind of things like that go viral. It follows you your entire life. People say comments like, this is a great ad for birth control about you as a child. And then that's you for a long time in your life.
Yeah, I would say another big thing for all the kids that grew up with their parents on like social media and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a lot more photos of you. That's another thing they should be real grateful for. For
grateful?
Me, yeah, grateful. There's way more pictures of you. I have no pictures.
Do you think that's good?
Yes.
What if they're embarrassing?
Well, I would rather have them. I would rather have photos of me. I have no photos of myself between the age of like 1 year old and probably like 14. I think the first pictures I have, like of any of the years where I was in elementary school, no pictures of myself then. My parents weren't on Facebook or anything like that, so there's no photos of me. And so the first pictures that I have are from like my Instagram from like 8th grade. Anything from like first grade, I'd say anything from the age of like 2 to the age of like 13, I have no photos of myself. But like you think about now, parents now have like, there's a picture like every day.
You think your mom,
kid.
if you were born now, you think your mom would take a bunch of pictures of you and post them on Facebook?
I mean, have you been on Facebook, Hudson? There's a picture every single day of people's kids. They post like, it's Johnny's 273 days of life, 343 days of life, 396 days of life. Like they're posting a picture every single day on Facebook. It's the first time he caught a fish. It's the first time he colored a book. Like there's a picture for every single moment now. Back when I was a kid, there was not a single photo that I have for anything. Like they
did have cameras when you were a child.
Yeah, but where are all those photos at? They're in like a scrapbook in my parents' basement.
That's where they belong.
In a box.
They're for you and your family. They shouldn't be online.
I would like to have them in my camera roll. That's where I'd like them to be. I'd like to have them in my camera roll.
There's a company that would digitize that
Yeah,
for
but they're
you.
in a big box. They're probably all crimpled up now at some point somewhere in the basement where I'll never see it.
Discolored.
Yeah, I think kids now should be real grateful. They're going to have tons of pictures of themselves as children.
I think it's great for kids to have a bunch of pictures of themselves being cute. I just think that a lot of parents, they wind up doing a bunch of stuff with their kids that doesn't put their kids in the flattering light, but it's like, whatever, they're my child. I can post whatever I want.
Yeah, I mean, who cares when you were 8 years old what you look like?
Yeah,
everybody look bad.
You're 8, you don't know enough to be embarrassed, but now it's like, you don't have control over that. If it goes viral on TikTok and you grow up and...
boo-hoo, boo-hoo, my gosh, how are you going to recover?
Or you get to high school and it's like, oh yeah, that's the kid that cried when his tooth came out or whatever. And then you didn't have a choice over that.
You were 8. Everybody did embarrassing stuff at that age. Nobody was a stud at 8 years old.
It doesn't have to be.
Nobody was some king at 8 years old.
It just doesn't have to be online. It could just be private. Just be like, your dad could just be like, hey, remember that time that you were a big baby about that one thing? And it doesn't have to be online for the whole world to see.
No, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll survive.
It's just normal.
I would just rather have the memories. Like my dad, I don't even know what he looked like at 10 years old because he doesn't have a photo of it. Your parents, you don't even know what they look like at 16 years old. There's not a photo of it. These kids should be grateful that for the rest of their lives, they can show their own children what they looked like when they were 5.
All their embarrassing moments can live on forever.
Yes, exactly. You can show everybody that. It's hilarious. I think it makes for good fun.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on RadioU.
We might need the Riot hotline for this one because I was wondering, if you're out in the dating game, are there any professions that you consider undateable? That if somebody lists on their Tinder or Bumble profile, I do this for a living, that it's an automatic swipe no matter what they look like?
There has to be
no matter what the rest of their
jobs.
personality is.
Yeah, I think there's jobs that are like, when you see them, you're like, oh, that'd be great if my significant other had this job. And there's other ones you see that you're like, a little less ideal. Less ideal.
Well, if anybody wants to text in with what they consider to be an undateable job, you can hit up the Riot hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
Well, I have a jumping off list here from a dating coach that has the top 5 undateable professions. See if you agree with these. 1, this is tough. Nobody's going to want to hear this. Nurses and doctors.
I can see why.
Is that on your list?
For me personally, I have mixed feelings about it. I really do. There's a lot of pluses. There's some subtractions. Some more pluses.
What are I don't want to get into. Nurses seem to do fine in the dating world to me.
Yeah, there's so many of them. Every other girl you meet is going to be a nurse.
It's a proud profession, but it's insane hours. That's really the reason, right? It's insane hours for most people when they start off with the nursing. And then for doctors, you go and probably do a lot of debt, a lot of schooling, and then also sometimes odd hours. But I think with a doctor, it's more worth it because good pay too, right?
Oh, yeah, killer pay.
So I see why nurses and doctors are at the top of the list. Number 2, you ever heard of this? A FIFO worker?
I've never heard of FIFO.
Fly in, fly out. That's like people
fly in, fly out.
Yeah, it's people that have to work in remote areas. So I mean, how often could this come up? That's not one you're going to see very often. But that feels like a tough person to date, though.
I mean, if they're flying out every other day,
yeah, in and out of town, that'd be a tough one. I also have again people in high-powered roles like doctors and lawyers, because again, high demand, a lot of demand on as your work is a lot of demand on your life. Hard to have to devote a lot of time to your relationship if you're a high-powered lawyer.
Yeah, work-life balance there, I'm sure,
although
isn't
they
great.
always seem to figure it out.
Yeah, just work-life balance isn't great there.
All right,
another subtractor.
I got 2 more on the top list, and then I'll see what you think. Truck drivers.
Again, traveling
drivers.
thing.
Yeah, not always around, not always available. And finally, police officers and military.
Did a lot of travel there for the military as well. The police officer thing, obviously a little more scary. And the hours too for most of those are terrible.
Yeah, that's right. So those are that's just the generic list. Do you have a list or
I feel like I think any of them that they travel for. If I'm not seeing you regularly, or if you're in and out of town regularly, it makes it a lot tougher. I think nurses and doctors being at number 1, I think is crazy.
You think that's
I think that's wild because there's just so many people that are nurses and doctors. That takes out such a large quantity for dating deal breaker wise. But everybody knows somebody's a nurse or a doctor. There's no way you don't. Everyone knows at least one person who's a nurse, one girl that's a nurse that's trying to date or whatever. I can tell you what their hours are like. They work 3/12s. We know because they talk about it all the time. And I'm sure their job's super hard. My job is easy. Their job is hard. I get it. But they're definitely devoted to their job. There's no question about that. And sometimes it's hard when you meet somebody that's their career is so important to them. It's hard for them to get that that work-life balance is important. And in some of those roles that you listed, a lot of it is very work, not so much life.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if you've got a profession you consider undateable, go ahead, shoot us a text at 877-2-RADIO-U. We'll go over a few more because I've got some I'd like to add to the list. I'm out of the dating game. Doesn't mean I don't have opinions on it. Doesn't mean there weren't a few people I'd said no to because of what job they had.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
The question is, what is a job that you consider to be undateable? Some of the ones on this list that we found from a dating coach that are the most difficult professions to date: doctors, nurses, lawyers, any job where you have to work a lot of hours and make it difficult or you're doing a lot of traveling, makes it difficult to have a really great relationship. So we are trying to see, is there other jobs that you would just say no to for somebody dating? So Isaiah, do you have any you'd like to add to the list?
Of ones that I don't particularly like, I'm not going to lie. The nurses and doctors things, there's the pros and cons to it. I like when people work 3 days a week.
Okay.
Like the 312s or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a positive because they're going to be home the other days of the week.
But also they sometimes want to spend 2 of those sleeping, I feel.
Yeah, they do. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just hanging out the house. I'm sure they'll be awake by the time I get home, hopefully. But for me, I'm trying to think any that a lot of traveling is involved in. That's when I saw like the military ones. If you're like in the military, yet again, great. But at the same time, it's like if I'm not going to see you for weeks at a time. Same other one, pilots. If you were a pilot, I'm going to see you 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Those are tough ones.
See, I feel like maybe if you might think for the pilot like, oh, well, I can travel with them, but I mean, even they oftentimes are not just like hanging out in whatever city they fly into. It's just they sleep there and then they get up and fly again. So it's not like, it'd be a lot of fun hanging out.
And for me, anybody who works night shift, you work a night shift job, just for my schedule, that doesn't work well.
Yeah, that's pretty opposite.
Because yet again, I wake up early, I get off early, but I do not into the evening time. When if you're sleeping all day, I mean, that just doesn't work. That's not going to work for me.
Here's a good one from Janelle. She texted in and says, sketchy seeming car dealers.
Sketchy seeming car dealers.
Yeah, like a used car salesman.
Just bad character guys, I guess.
How do you know, though?
You don't know. There's no way you can tell.
I don't know. You think...
Sketchy seeming car dealers.
I wonder about that. You think like the used car salesman, like, we all know, you can picture him from like a TV commercial.
But isn't that how it is in real life?
Yeah, but would you be able to catch that from his Tinder profile?
I've met some pretty nice car dealers.
Yeah, no, I mean, some of them are very nice, above board. They're not trying to take advantage of you. Yeah, but no, there's
any
a few
kind of
professions.
Sketchy salesperson, I guess you could list them off. I didn't know. I mean, yet again, if I didn't need to list anything that's illegal, if my girlfriend's a drug dealer, I'm against that. We were wondering. I thought we'd nut that out early.
Yeah, no, I mean, just for clarity, it's probably good that you listed that. What about Jasmine, who says a guy who runs a strip club would never date?
Really?
Yeah.
Who is that again? Jasmine. Jasmine. That's a good looking out.
It's a good call. Again, for clarity, I think we should lay that out. But and the thing is, though, guys that run strip clubs somehow still wind up getting dates. So even the professions that mostly across the board would seem like the professions you wouldn't want to date, somebody dates them.
Somebody has to.
Somebody does it.
Not for me.
Yeah. For me, I was thinking this is a tough one, and I know it's wrong, but plumber.
You're leaning against plumber?
I'd be anti-plumber. I hate to say it. I know they make good money. It's nice, honest work. But to me, that'd be tough to come home every day and be like, hey, how was, declogging the toilets?
That sounds terrible.
Waiting around in the sewer. That's not really what plumbers
terrible.
do. But, that'd be tough to me.
Yeah,
I don't care how much they shower.
I agree.
Yeah.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Got a new trend here for you. It's supposed to help you take care of yourself. You ready for some self-care?
Oh, I love some self-care.
All right. You want to get your mental and physical well-being back on track. Here's what you do. You start bed rotting. You ever heard of this?
Sounds like what I was doing over the weekend.
I think it actually does. Bed rotting is where you literally take a day and you spend the majority of it in your bed rotting away. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be sleeping the whole time. You could binge some Netflix. You could do like kind of almost like a spa day where you do a face mask and whatever, and you meditate maybe there. Or you could just stare at the ceiling, just kind of waste away. It's up to you what you do in there, but it's all about just taking a lazy day, staying in your bed the whole time, and making sure that nothing pulls you away from that.
That was me yesterday.
Yeah? How do you feel?
Day.
You think it helped your mental and physical well-being?
I bet I feel better today because I did that, I think. Maybe. I don't feel great today, but I feel a little better.
But you might feel worse if you didn't bed rot yesterday.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if I would have done stuff yesterday, I would have been really tired today.
Yeah. It's important to take a day to every once in a while, I think, to do this and to just make sure you don't exhaust yourself. I always think I would like to do it. I have done it in various similar circumstances to what you did yesterday, where it's like a gap day after you take a big trip or something. Yeah. I remember like going to music festivals, and then you need a day to recover from the music festival where you just spent time in bed. And what do you think of the longest time you ever spent in bed Like fairly uninterrupted was.
The longest time I've laid in a bed consecutively?
Yeah. Well, I mean, get up to go to the bathroom, hopefully. You're not doing that in the bed. But.
I don't know if I have a certain day where I just didn't leave my bed all day. Yesterday was one of the laziest days that I've had in a long time, where I just didn't leave the house. I was at home all day. I went and got McDonald's midday. That's how you know I was down bad. All that I ate was McDonald's. And I laid in bed all day, laid on the couch all day, didn't really do anything except for lay around.
Yeah.
Yesterday was probably the laziest day I've had yet this year.
That's you went full bed rot yesterday.
Had to. I mean, I had no choice. I didn't have the energy to do anything else.
Yeah. They say that for bed rotting, it has to come with no guilt. You can't feel bad about being there because the whole point is to make you have better mental health. So you can't feel guilty and bad about lying in bed. And 2, you can't this is a tough one. You can't just have Sunday be bed rot day because Sunday comes with what? Sunday scaries. Once again, detracting from the benefits of you just lying there.
Talk about the Sunday scaries. I mean, last night it was the Monday scaries, obviously, but there's nothing worse than coming back from a trip and then having to go to work. It's got to be one of the lowest. Yesterday, I had such a great weekend in Scottsdale. I had a fantastic time. It was so much fun living this life that just isn't mine. And then coming back here, and yesterday laying around all day. And then as you're getting ready for bed, you do that thing where you're supposed to go to bed. But if you go to bed right now, that means that today or tomorrow.
And then when you wake up,
it comes quicker.
Yeah.
And so then you lay there. You're like, how long can I stretch out tonight so that I don't have to go to work tomorrow?
I've moved past. I don't even have the Sunday scaries anymore. I now get this weekend I got the Saturday scaries.
Ooh.
Because on Saturday afternoon, I was like, well, now I only have a regular length weekend from here till I have to work again.
Oh, goodness.
So sometimes on Friday, I'm like, oh man, I only got 2 days left until I have to work again. Not that I hate work. It's just responsibility,
Oh, coming back in this morning, are you joking? Yesterday, I was hating work. I wasn't even working yesterday, and I was like, do I have to go tomorrow? How can I not go?
Yeah.
Because it's just after you come back from, especially me coming back from a trip, a long weekend, I just wow, I should have just stayed in Arizona.
It's actually wild how working sounds worse when you're not working.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds way worse.
I feel fine now that I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel fine.
Yeah, this is fine. This is a good day.
Yeah, I'm having a good time, but it just... Last night, there's no way. I was not looking forward to this whatsoever.
You just heard the worst of the worst. We'd give you the best of the best, but we'd have to find that. As soon as we do, you'll be the first to know.